How's it going, PokeMoshPit? PhoenixFire here, channel name FierceBirdofFlame. For those who don't know me, I'm the National Geographic guy. I fabricate stories and provide detailed narrations, allowing my viewers an unexampled insight into my thought process. But enough of that for now, on to the battle. Yu-Gi-Oh! Test matches this time around against FluxStatic, both sides using randomized teams. Off we go. My opponent opens with Kingdra, while I opt to begin the game with Sork. Positive my foe won't dare open with anything conservative, and my enemy backing the elusive Zoroark, I direct my Pokemon to immediately charge forward with close combat, severely maiming anything offensive. Strangely enough, the foe's combatant appears to be the real deal after all. As it soaks Sork in boiling water, I can safely assume the foe's Pokemon is defensively orientated, due to the lack of severe damage after the drops caused by close combat. Unable to deal sufficient damage with a follow-up attack, I recall my Gladiator for Mew. Given its protective disposition, more than a match for this stalling beast. Poised to oust the monster from its place, I command Mew to cripple the foe with Taunt, rendering any of its support moves naught. Ordered to use Toxic, Kingdra is now filled with rage and unable to move. Although synchronizing Toxic onto his own wall might have been useful, using it so openly proves that my opponent is carrying rest. Left with little options, FluxStatic sounds the retreat and deploys Heracross to the field. Figuring as much, I take the opportunity and establish my Stealth Rocks, pressuring the foe's Pokemon for damage every time they switch. Unsure what my opponent might employ next, yet keen on not finding out with Mew in play, I reinstate Sork to scout the opponent's set. Narrowly evading the first blow, my opponent shifts gears and bashes Sork with close combat. Despite it easily dispatching my bruiser, it reveals critical information in the form of Life Orb, opening up a lot more paths to deal with Heracross. Down 5-6, Pharaoh takes center stage. Flaunting superior speed and moves, I form my Tailwind, predicting my foe might evacuate. Much to my dismay, Heracross continues to oppose me and slams Pharaoh to the ground with Mega Horn, possibly predicting a U-turn. Left badly hurt by this offensive, I must now press the initiative while I can. As the adversary shifts to Togekiss, Pharaoh lunges forward with Double Edge, finishing it off in a single hit. Alas, the recoil proves to be far too excessive, causing the scoreboard to settle at 4 versus 5 with both Pokemon down and out. With player area cleared and my Tailwind still active, I disguise my Zoroark as Poliwrath and leap into the fray while the enemy sports Azumarill as a replacement. Confident my ruse will halt the foe from attacking, I break the facade and strike with Night Daze, dealing hefty damage in the process. FluxStatic, on the other hand, sings Perish Song, a rare and controversial move on Azumarill when boasting heavy offensive prowess. Devoted to keep Zoroark's sash intact, I replace the fake for the genuine Poliwrath, to halt any water moves Azumarill might bring to bear. Preparing to break Azumarill with a powerful Focus Blast, the barrage fails to hit the target, permitting the foe another chance to sing its dreadful song. Granted this might seem pointless, it does force me out and could possibly end me if I'm left with only one Pokemon. Locked into my fighting move, I recall my Poliwrath for Jolteon, while the enemy switches in Heracross to resist my attack. As the adversary's Pokemon stands little chance against mine, he switches out again in favor of Registeel. Able to spot that my foe did not bring any ground types in the beginning, I let loose Jolteon's fury and strike with Thunderbolt, catching Registeel off guard and inflicting critical damage. Having little HP to spare after this brutal blitz, Registeel can only watch as I vanquish it with a second blow. With the enemy's Pokemon eliminated, the record is now 4 versus 4. Unable to maintain its disguise, Zoroark is summoned in its true colors. Positive it's packing Sucker Punch, I am still confident that I can survive it and demolish this Pokemon in return. As I prepare to set it alight, Zoroark dashes forward and uppercuts Jolteon, mortally wounding it before any attack could be made. Although my Pokemon clings to life and is able to overwhelm the opponent still, the Life Orb saps the last of its HP, resulting in another double KO. As the dust settles, the score stands at 3 versus 3. Left in the last team slot, thus unable to camouflage itself, my own Zoroark takes the field to combat either offensive threat left. Regrettably, FluxStatic bets on Kingdra's sturdiness once more, a Pokemon I cannot hope to crush from this range. Therefore, I recall my Pokemon as quickly as it came for Mew. Sporting enough bulk and the right tools at its disposal, it can halt the foe's attack dead in its track. Predicting the foe might foresee my taunt and counter-switch to Heracross, I decree my Mew to go for Transform and use his own tools against him. Unfortunately, Kingdra goes for Toxic instead, a risky play that definitely paid off for my enemy. Even though my guess was incorrect, it might turn out to be a fault on the right side, as this Kingdra form does enable me to outstall his precious PP, and combat Heracross might dare switch in. As both parties exchange blows, I rest up as soon as possible to shed both Toxic and eventually Sleep, especially with Sleep Talk in tow to keep my Mew going. Perhaps risky at best, with Guts Heracross still around to take advantage of both Burn and Toxic. Any residual damage coupled with the Life Orb will quickly lead to its downfall now it has taken substantial damage. Aside from that, the clone's defensive demeanor and type can allow me to sustain even a single Guts boosted attack, something Mew in its original form would fail to achieve. Seeing how his efforts bring him no advantage and each turn depleting Kingdra's precious power points, FluxStatic falls back for Azumarill. Even though this bulky set can hardly harm me aggressively, Parasong can still reign on my parade. As I continue to use Sleep Talk, I'm able to net a Scald attack and continue pressing the opponent. Dealing only little injuries, I fear the next might not be sufficient. And not wanting to hear its vile chorus over and over, I dredge the foe in venom in order to cut its chances for the rest of the match. The opponent, on the other hand, encages Mew with Whirlpool, hell-bent on perish-trapping my Pokémon. Despite this valiant effort, Azumarill's wounds have become far too great to pull it off. As the after-turn effects run their course, my Kingdra clone is able to douse the enemy with another Scald, freeing itself from Azumarill's grip as it powers up away. Down to its last 2 Pokémon, while I still have 3, FluxStatic is left in a tight spot. As Heracross is deployed to the battlefield, I grab my chance to inflict as much damage as possible while still retaining this form. Swooping forward with Mega Horn to prevent the defensive decreases from close combat to become its demise, Heracross misses the first attack, sealing the way that his fighter might push through his own behemoth. Eager to make up for its mistake, the enemy's Pokémon thrusts forward with another attack. Albeit that it was a courageous effort, it fails to inflict over half, denying even a critical hit to finish off Mew. Knowing his fate that he cannot hope to combat all 3 remaining participants, FluxStatic throws in the towel, ending the match in a 3 versus 1. That was the game for today, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks again for the people at PMP for offering me the chance, and if you'd like to see more, feel free to comment, like and subscribe to both PokeMoshPit and my channel, FierceBirdofFlame. Till next time, Phoenix Fire signing out.